Okay, I'll walk through a brief explanation on the controls for this lift axle project truck. Give you a couple pointers and things drivers should get themselves familiar with. One of the things they need to find on the screen, if they're not familiar with the Volvo screen, they need to learn to be able to know where their airbag pressure screen is, and they can find that just going into gauges, clicking onto gauges and toggling forward. They'll get outside temperature, engine temperature, latitude, longitude setting, the airbag pressure comes up. If they should, learning this truck, they should become familiar with this, know where these settings are. We are empty right now with no trailer on, and the brakes released. Let me see if I can get enough to equal out. We're setting empty with the brakes released, the suspension air pressure's up on the truck, and we're 10 pounds on the drive axle. That's a normal setting. I've seen that 8 to 10 seems to be the number for that. Basic controls, we had to use the ECS button. Hold my finger in the down position is going to take the air out of the bags. Again, this is one of my complaints Volvo's going to fix. I have to go back and ask for that screen so that I can see my airbag pressure instead of automatically coming up. They will fix it where it comes up automatically. We've dropped from 10, we're down to 6. I can feel the truck suspension dropping behind us, and that's how it works. It will now hold at 6. When I put the ECS button back, it will go immediately back, and you can feel it back to the setting. The driver should somewhat feel that, know what he's doing. Again, we'll go to a trailer. If I have a trailer that's set too high, I can move it and I can add air to the airbags, and immediately we can feel the angle coming up on the airbags. It's nice to hook up with a trailer that's a little high to do that. Nice feature. That's the basic hook or unhook. Always return back the button back to drive. The other control switches here, the optimized traction. This position is where this truck will almost always be driven. Probably 99 9/10% of the time, this truck will always stay in that position. The enhanced traction is for mud and snow. If we really had some ugly situations, this only works in a loaded situation because it's changing, so this control won't work right now where we don't have a trailer on. The basic traction just equalizes the axle. Immediately the axle dropped. Now it's setting down like a normal truck would be in case the shop wanted to work on it, or I had a reason to have that airbag pressure. But empty, with an empty trailer or with no trailer on, you'll never use that unless the shop had a reason to work on the truck. So we'll always run in this position, the optimized traction in the middle. We'll go now and see if we can find the trailer. And again, after messing with my controls, my eye goes back to the screen. We're 10 pounds of air pressure on that drive axle. We're good. Brakes released. We're good to move. And the pin is latched. I can see the fifth wheel latch arm. It has went in all the way. Now, at this time, I have the brakes released. I'm in neutral. My airbag pressure is throwing 36 pounds on the drive axle. Now 41. It's starting to climb. The suspension, once it senses this is an actually loaded trailer, it's going to drop the other axle. It's got 59 out on there. The truck's being new. In our experience with our first 9, it seemed like it took a little bit. The axle has now dropped. We've probably been here about 20-30 seconds. As it's sensing that, it started to release this. Now my airbag pressure on the drop axle is at 17. Now it's 22, 26, 50. We were up to 57 on the drive axle. That has started to drop now. We're down to 53 on the drive. My lift axle's up to 34. It is equalizing and getting to where it's supposed to be. The delta set which is optimized. We're down to 52 on the drive. 39 on the lift. Looks like that seems to be an equal point on this truck. 40 pounds on the lift, 52 on the drive for the amount of weight there. We'll now go to the enhanced traction. If we were in a real mud, deep snow type situation where I wanted more drive on that, lift axle's down to 52. The drive is up to 68. And this can be done while moving. You do not need to be still, stopped. This is only airbag differential change. You could do it if you were pulling into a yard or a customer, or muddy as you pull off the pavement for some reason that you really needed to get into it. Just go to the enhanced. At this time, we've probably got about 20,000 pounds on the drive axle and about 14,000 pounds on the lift axle. Very optimum traction stability. Use this for off-road, highway travel. Go back to the optimized traction. If you forget to change the button back to optimized, when you get to about 50 miles an hour, it will reset itself automatically on the gauge. Your switch will not reset, but the gauge, it will go back to the optimized going down the highway. Now, if you had another customer 2 miles down the road and you had to pull back in the deep mud again, you need to reset this and then go back to the enhanced once you're in the mud the second time if you went down the road more than 50 miles an hour to reset that. We went back to optimize. Immediately the axles started changing their pressure back. That is the basic use for this. You will almost never use this button unless you're really into a heavy mud, snow situation with a loaded equipment. I will set the landing gear back down now, pull the pin, and we'll pull out from underneath this trailer. We have now put the landing gear back down and release the fifth wheel arm. So we're ready to pull away from this trailer. We are now going to move the ECS button. I've got 5 pounds on the airbags now. We pulled away very easily. We'll go back. So we pulled away from the trailer, put it back to the ECS. It immediately aired the truck up to the proper 9 pounds, 9 to 10 pounds seemed to be accurate.